Well, let's go back to before game one.
Yep.
So we're picking the team, and then we get to the second row. And I said, well, because you and I roomed together.
Yeah.
87, 88 and 89.
Unbelievable.
How was that?
Oh, great time. No, mate, not because you're here and you're a great mate, but it was so good. Like, and Tossa obviously put us in roommates, and they used to do it strategically, didn't they, sometimes, and the reason behind it I didn't know, but because I used to get a little bit wound up a little bit too much, I reckon, and you are Mr. Casual, but and that probably, you were so good for me because I realised you didn't have to be over the top all the time before a game and burn yourself out, you know what I mean? So mate,
You think about it too much.
Exactly.
You're going to be mentally buggered.
Exactly right, yeah. So
I tried to keep you amused. I walked around the nude a lot.
Oh,
that
no.
made him laugh.
Oh yeah.
You wanted to fight Santa Claus.
Well, don't you talk? But yeah, I was a bit used to be a bit wound up. Yeah. And I blamed Arthur quite a few times for that when I was at the Roosters. But
Yeah, it got me.
Actually, the greatest compliment you ever paid me was, you said to me once, you said, you know what I learned off you, room with you for 3 years? I said, what? He said, you taught me how to hate them.
yeah.
And that, was all part of Origin.
Yep. And I do remember too, like yesterday, with obviously at the Travel Lodge, that we're laying on the bed watching TV or whatever, and Greg Dowling come in.
Yeah.
Remember GD come in, and he said, and I got off the bed and I said, g'day, Mr. Dowling, or he said, Gilly GD. He said, mate, well, he said, mate, Origin's a bit different. You play with these blokes at club level. You know what I mean? Obviously, there was no Broncos those days. Yeah. And he said, oh, mate, Origin's different. He said, you see your hand, you stand on it. You see your head, you kick it. He said, you'll love this stuff. He said, this is made for you. And I went, oh, okay, yeah. And he's laughing his head off, laughing on the bed. I said, oh, yeah. He's a bit over the top, he said. Yeah.
So I said, we picked this team, and then you're a natural to get in. As soon as you said your name, I said, oh, captain, and Vautin went, yep, captain.
Yeah, oh, that was great.
How did you feel when the team was announced? And
yeah, it was, mate, everyone was saying, about New South Wales red hot favourites and all that type of that didn't come into my thinking at all, you know what I mean, straight away. But I was so proud, obviously, to be captain, and you've done it, and it's such a great privilege, to be able to do that for your family and all that type of thing, and all the supporters. But I mean, what was it, nine debutants we had?
Yeah.
And I was thinking back to when we first got together in '87, and you had to teach these blokes about, as you said, the hatred and what it means to be a Queenslander, to pull that jersey on.
Yeah.
And that was part of my thoughts. And I used to just mention things to blokes on the bus, training, things like that, and just get in their ear a little bit. And
great role,
yeah. Anyway, but it was, as you know, when you're with them type of players, it was so good to watch them. Actually, especially as the series went on, mate, they got more and more confident. Them blokes, mate. I reckon if we had, honestly, people think I'm stupid. If we had 5 games, 6 games, we would have beat them 6-0.
We were going on well. We were really well.
100% right. Yeah.
We won the series, but I talked about this is the most important one now. We're at home. But you had a problem. You got a nick on his knee on the clay of the MCG, and it got infected. And you started to train with us for a few days, and then it got that bad. You had to go to hospital for what?
Couple of days
on a drip. Obviously trying to fix it up. So, well, what if he's out? So we found Brett Horse.
Yeah.
So he come in just in case Trevor was out. So they bring you back in about 5:30. We got the meeting at 6 for the final meeting before we go to the game, and the doctor came to me and he goes, look, he's got blood poisoning. The worst result, it could lead to septicemia, and if he plays, he could die. That's what he said to me.
Yeah.
I go, right, okay. All right, well, I'll go and have a chat to him, leave it with me. So I go in, this is, I think, I remember like
Yeah,
it happened
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
I go in, and I'm saying, and you were crook.
Yeah, I know.
I know, you could hardly walk. You're laying there in bed, and I'm going, now, mate, what do you think? Can you get up out of bed? And you didn't say a word for 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then I said to you, look, if I was in your position, and I had the chance tonight to captain Queensland to a 3-0 victory,
Yep.
get chaired around
Lang Park.
Lang Park,
Yeah, yeah, yep.
and then later get picked to play for Australia. You'd never
Yep.
played for
Yeah,
Australia.
yep.
Would have been your first test. I said,
Yep.
mate, if I had the chance to do all those things, I would get up out of that bed and I would play. And you said to me,
Yep.
you should have said that 10 minutes ago. Let's go.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
got up and you started to walk, and then I said, oh, just one little thing I got told by the doctor. The doctor did say to me that if you play tonight and you get septicemia, you could die. And you said, what a place to go.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And that's basically, and you know, your bravery that night was something I've never seen before or after. That, you know, you were very sick and you ran out in that field, and just the fact that you were on the field and you carried that team behind you, mate, that helped win us the game.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but I mean, I don't know, I played 60 minutes or something or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but I still remember, you know, the looks on the boys' faces when I got on the bus,
Yeah.
you know, and the smiles on their faces,
Yeah.
and I said, well, I probably don't have to do too much because we, as you said, we got the series wrapped up, and that, you know, that corner there and the can bar, you know, as you
Yeah.
blokes know how good it is there. And actually my knee wasn't that bad running wise, but I had this burning in my guts,
Right.
you know, and it was just like, oh, nothing I've ever had before.
That'd be the septicemia.
Yeah, well, burning in my guts. Yeah, and that's something I'd never ever had before on the footy field. But anyway,
But mate, it was so brave, and a fun fact that not many people know. So Trev accepts the trophy, they do the lap of honour, and an ambulance backed up to our dressing room door, and they wheeled you straight back and straight back to hospital.
Yeah.
And you were in for another, what, night or two?
Yeah, 2 nights.
Yeah, another 2 nights.
Yeah. And I don't mind saying, and when I left, I said, don't forget me, you blokes.
Yeah.
A couple of the boys did turn up to the hospital
Good.
with a couple of friends, and but they wouldn't let them in. So I won't mention names, but I was forever grateful for them turning up. You know, so yeah, it was good.
What about you tried to escape?
Apparently I did. Yeah, I had no idea.
So you had one of those gowns on that had no back in it.
Yeah.
So your little saggy butt was hanging out of the back of the cape.
Yeah, apparently.
You've made it to the front doors. The front doors have opened, and you're charging towards a cab.
Yeah.
Security gone, Mr. Gillmesiter, get back in the hospital. You were coming out for the boys.
Well,
But
yeah,
you must have
apparently.
been delirious because you didn't realise you still had the cape on.
Well, I didn't.
No undies.
No recollection of that.
No.
You know what I mean? So it was. It was funny because I said to him, I said, listen, because of obviously we know about Origin, the adrenaline's going through you so much, and I said, listen, you're going to have to give me a shot or something to put me to sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, and then I nodded off for a little while, and yeah, apparently I've wandered off. You know, I've been known to do that a few times. Yeah.
Just overall, to captain a team to a 3-0 victory under those circumstances,
Oh.
mate, how'd you feel?
Yeah, unbelievable. I still have people during Origin. I'll be walking down the street somewhere, whatever, and someone will yell out of their window in the car and go, Gilly, all right, 95, best ever. And they'll go like that, and I'll go, like that. And mate, it's non-stop, and especially up here in Brisbane or southeast Queensland. But yeah, the best thing about it is, everyone lives in different places and that. Like when we all see each other, it's like you've seen him yesterday.
Yeah, I know. It's so
what I
good.
mean? Like, and give each other a big hug, and and then we start talking war stories. But but it's so good to lucky enough to win a couple of series, and and that with, you know, like yourself and blokes like that, and you never think it's going to get any better.
Yeah.
But that was just something special.
That was a lot better.
Yeah, that was something I'll never forget, and so proud of.
Yeah.
Not, you know, it's a word you don't say to yourself, but so proud of everyone, but yourself included, you know, and you blokes as well. It was a monumental job, and we were, you know, as I said, we rated no chance of winning, and even I've heard the likes of Darren Lockyer say that's the best win of all time.
Darren Lockyer said that to me.
Yeah.
Steve Renoff said it to me.
Yeah. So to hear that from those calibre of players is something special as well, isn't it? Because we're biased, of course.
Yeah. So game one, as we ran out, probably startled rabbits. Win that, gain some confidence. Game two, they looked, you know, twice the outfit of game one, and then this one, everything clicked for us, and I thought we actually played a really good game.
Yeah. Well, attacking wise, we were but that much slick, weren't we?
Yeah,
Slicker, and there's no doubt about that. You know what I mean? And a lot of the blokes, like, you know, I was talking to a few of the boys about it, like Benny as well, but because we didn't really have any club combinations at the start, you know what I mean? Like the likes of you blokes, when you all played together, you just knew each other's game inside out. And I was lucky enough to be involved in some teams like that as well. But by the third game, everyone, even at training, you know that at training was a bit slicker, and everyone started to find their way a little bit better and know what lines to run and all that. But it was very special, especially at the old Lang Park, mate. How good's that?
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
42,000.
Yeah.
The Lemmy was good in this.
Yeah.
You know, every single player played as good as they could ever have played in this series.
Smithy scored
Smithy
there.
was unbelievable.
Yeah. And what a great player.
Corny.
And the one good thing too as well, and it doesn't happen a lot these days, is we only used 18 players, didn't we, the whole series?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
Which is you know, and we needed to do that, because I reckon if we had three or four injuries,
saved another one.
Oh yeah. But how many did they stop in the corner? I reckon there's 8 in the whole series. There was 9 or 10 times that Corny, Brady Dallas,
Gary Larson.
Yeah, Danny Moore. They're in the corner to stop a try. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, big picker going for a good try. Yeah. One of your Manly boys.
Look, I'm going.
Doing a bit of a dance there, fella.
Yeah.
Smoking.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Brett Dallas. How good.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's so good when you're coming off too, like to see you blokes like have a big like tosser as well. You know, have the biggest smiles on your faces as well. Like, you know, and it means you achieved something. You know, really well. You know, especially you blokes have been there, done that.
Well, I never, you know, I didn't play in this game. I was a manager, but it was the first year that I was manager, first game.
Yeah.
So, you know, Tosser was still my mentor.
Yeah.
He brought me in '94, like smuggled me in, and then in '95 I actually got officially thing. I was the manager, media manager.
You were everything. Security.
Yeah, security.
Assistant coach. Fitness coach.
You call me assistant coach fitness. I had 5 titles, not probably worthy of any of them, but I remember in these in this game, mate, there's so many things that were so pure about being a Queenslander and what it means to you.
Yeah.
And I just want to test your memory, mate, about game 1. We were down in Sydney, and it was the day of the game, and it was that last few hours, those nervous few hours before you get out there.
Watch our CEO
waddle
over the line. Good waddling, Benny.
Yeah, great.
Good waddling.
Good try.
You missed it.
He shed a few kilos since then.
Yeah. Bardo, good work, son.
Just shaved her in. Yeah.
So what were you going to say?
Yeah, so mate, we hadn't even played a game at that stage, and we were getting ready, and that nervous few hours before you leave the camp. And I went round to your room, and Tosser had already beat me there. And you're in there, and you're laying on your bed, and you're on the phone. And I said, who are you talking to? And you said, me family, me mum and dad at home.
Yeah.
Remember they raided your cupboards? They'd been round to your house.
Got all the jerseys.
They raided your cupboard. They got every state of origin bit of gear out of his cupboards.
Yeah, right.
And everyone, there was, I think you said that.
There as well.
Yeah, there was 15 or 20 of them.
Yeah.
All sitting in his lounge room. This is like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Drinking with all their origin gear on, waiting for the game to come on.
Yeah.
And I thought to me, there's no more Queensland than that.
No.
That is it.
My grandfather had me shorts on as well.
He did, yeah.
I know we mentioned it before, but like Robbie O. Davis, Brady Dallas, you know, Danny Moore, Corny, it was singing. Like, the amount of tries they held up or in the corner was amazing.
Yeah, it was
you know, but again, there was another two blokes 3 metres away, ready to be
go.
involved. You know, what I mean, like, and that's what the big difference is when you're, you know, willing to put the effort in with your teammates. You know, I mean, love it.
If you looked at that team and looked at the series, you couldn't have found a weakness in the team anywhere, Fatty, could you? As a coach,
there wasn't.
There wasn't one player that didn't give everything they had.
No.
You mentioned Gary Larson earlier.
Oh,
he was just unbelievable.
He was
mate.
incredible.
He was. Him and Billy Moore.
Yeah.
And Tony Hearn, mate.
Tony was
Just never stopped
So
fronting
tough.
up, mate,
I
and
know.
running the ball up as hard as he could.
I know.
It was a really...
Every one of those
it was
players, mate.
Such a pleasure to
good.
be a part of it.
Yeah.
It really was. And I think that, you know, it'll go on forever and ever.
Everyone was so humble and about it,
Yeah.
and just, I don't know, it's something that you can't explain to people, is it? You know what I mean? Things like that.
No, you don't. That's something you feel. You can't describe it either. It's very hard to describe.
I know that over the years, spoken to some of those New South Wales players, and mate, they don't like talking about it.
No.
No,
Joey
they're still
won't-
dumbfounded.
Joey
aren't
won't.
they? Yeah.
He won't talk about it at all.
Well, they had an outstanding side.
Oh, mate, it was a great
Laurie
side.
Daly's.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they were some of their best ever players.
Yeah.
And the greatest Origin coach of all time.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know?
Gus.
Gus.
Yeah. He loves Queensland, Gus.
I'll tell you what, I'll give him his dues.
Yep.
After the third game, we were doing the lap,
Yep.
and he found me, he saw me from like 60 metres away. He come over,
Shook your hand.
yeah, and he said, mate, he said, I don't know how you did it, but you did it. Congratulations, well done. Be proud of yourself. And I'll never forget that he did that. Like he was humbled by it. It was so good.
Yeah.
It was very nice of him, you know.
Yeah.
From a coach
Yeah.
up there to a wood duck like me, it was like, I'm going, wow, that's good. Look at you. There you are. No one left the ground.
No.
Look at him.
Yeah.
It's a real story for people that are doing it tough.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you
know
think
what?
you're at.
I reckon they should make a movie.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you something. Put Hugh, what's his name?
Hefner.
Hugh Jackman, put him in a red wig. There's nothing between us. I'm telling you.
I thought he was going to say. I thought he was going to say rock hard.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hugh Jackman, red wig. Come on, boys. Let's do it.
I reckon, what was that little actor in the old days?
Danny DeVito.
That'd be Gilly. Yeah.
Hugh Jackman in a red wig, mate. I'm telling you. I demand it.
Anyway, boys, it's been a pleasure to share the couch with you.
How good.
Queensland 1995. Well done, boys.
Love you, boys.
How
well
good.
done.
Thank you.